Thank you, Lasco Hirlock, and it's good to have this opportunity to talk on the Forestry Bill. Forestry as an industry is essential to this country, has massive potential to create extra jobs, but really what's being looked at in the Forestry Bill relative to some of the other things that are going on in the industry is really basically moving the deck chairs around on the Titanic, sadly. And we can move them around all we want, but the Titanic is sinking. And while you might be sitting in a different place, it won't make any difference when you're drowning with water in your lungs. So, as Junior Minister is aware, I, along with members of the industry, have been trying to get some sort of an investigation going into alleged weight volume irregularities at Coillte. Tomorrow, this will be going on for a year. Now, I have to say I don't have much faith in the Fine Gael party, don't believe in an awful lot of what they stand for, very little in fact, and don't really believe an awful lot of what they say. But I suppose in line with what many people have said about Minister Coveney, I had some little bit of hope for him. But I have to say that hope is fading fast, and I hope he'll prove me wrong, because what I've been trying to get him to do has now been going on for a year, and last week I thought I had cynicism bet into me at this stage, but I have to say it's gone up another level, and my scepticism about whether the state is acting in the best interests of the people has now increased further. I asked a question here nearly a year ago, and it was the following: to ask the Minister for Agriculture and Food if he is aware that Coillte has been defrauded by certain sawmillers, if he is aware that by interfering in the sampling system used to quantify deliveries to sawmills, the country was systematically defrauded, and if he will direct an investigation into the facts of this fraud, and if he will make a statement, alleged fraud.
If the Deputy... It hasn't anything got to do with the Forestry Bill. It hasn't anything got to do with the Forestry Bill.
Well, you'll see how it does.
But it doesn't, you know.
We'll respect the Chair. And if he will direct an investigation into the facts of this alleged fraud, and if he will make a statement on the matter. Now, maybe it might be a little bit highfalutin for some people to start talking how the country was systematically fraud. Well, let's take it back to basics. My children are being defrauded, my neighbours' children are being defrauded, and the future of this country has been defrauded, and I think something needs to be done about it. I thought we left the years of Haughey and Lawler et al. Behind us. I hope we have. Nothing had happened by February, so I then asked the Minister for Justice and Equality if there was a Garda investigation into ongoing systematic weight volume fraud at Coillte or not, and if he will make a statement on the matter. The answer was, I have requested a report from the Garda authorities on the matter raised by the Deputy. I will contact the Deputy directly when the report is to hand. Before I tell you what he said, I think it's important to point out that the people in industry asked the Garda Síochána directly, as I did, and we were told there was an investigation going on into, well, let's not dance around the issue, the fact that our children are having money robbed off them. Now, the answer I got was, Dear Luke, I refer to your parliamentary question 151 of the 13th of February 2013, asking if there is a Garda investigation into ongoing systematic weight volume fraud at Coillte, and if I would make a statement on the matter. The Minister says in the letter, as you will recall, the information you requested could not be obtained in the time available, and I undertook to contact you again when a Garda report was to hand. I have now received the Garda report, and I am informed that the Garda authorities are not aware of any ongoing investigation into systematic weight volume fraud at Coillte. So, the Minister, who is the boss of the Garda Síochána, tells us he isn't aware of any investigation, and a member of the Garda Síochána tells us that there is an investigation. Now, I'm just wondering why the junior minister present is wary of me talking about this, because I understand that the junior minister in question was actually looking forward to me coming in talking on the forestry bill. But anyways, that's what the minister told us. Now, one of the reasons why it wouldn't be going on, the investigation, is that Coillte have not reported a problem. Now, all I know is if someone came around to my house and robbed my television, I would certainly go to the Garda Síochána and report it. And if someone robbed my forestry, I would certainly go around and report it. So anyways, on foot of this, I was contacted by Coillte and I was asked, further to your debate in the Dáil during the week regarding weight volume fraud in Coillte, I would be very interested and grateful for any information which you may have regarding the same. Now, I find that remarkable, given that they have all the evidence. So I wrote back to them and I said, any information you need regarding weight volume fraud in Coillte is available within your own organisation. As they know, I suggest you talk to your colleagues in senior management at Coillte Forests. This is the forestry arm of Coillte, just in case they'd missed that, who are well aware of this issue, and you might also revert as to why this has never been investigated by the Garda Síochána. Now, I haven't heard from them as a result of that letter or that email. Where did it go from there? Well, I brought this matter up during a private member's motion put forward by Deputy Richard Boyd Barrett. Excellent motion, and I actually believe he played a very big part in stopping the sale of Coillte. But during my speech on it, I mentioned what had been brought to me by industry. And as a result of it, Minister Coveney said that, well, he'd try and do something about it. So I wrote to him, Dear Minister, during my contribution to the private members' motion brought by the technical group on the 26th and 27th of February of this year, I mentioned that Coillte had been systematically defrauded by certain sawmills. At the time, you commented that this was new information, even though I'd asked a cabinet minister about it previously, but sure, we'll let that slide. Information to you, and that I should furnish you with the same. Given the complexity of this matter, it would make for far more sense for me to discuss this with you in person. I would also request that you meet with one of the affected parties, namely a particular sawmill. My reply that I got on the 4th of April was, thank you for your request regarding Coillte. I am making inquiries into the matter and will be with you shortly. Now, that resulted in a situation where I, along with the industry people who contacted me, met with the department. And unfortunately, the minister wasn't there. He was busy, and I can understand it's a very busy job, and I'm not going to criticise him for that. He couldn't be there. But we met with these officials. We met with Assistant Secretary to the Minister for Agriculture, and we met a Coillte liaison from the Department of Agriculture. I'm not going to name them. There's no benefit in that, and it wouldn't be fair to them. It's the minister's job to assure accountability as far as I'm concerned. Now, we met with them, along with a legal team of the people who had come to me with this information, and we were told an investigation would take place. Now, in July of that year, a request was made by Coillte for us to provide them with further information, and we went down to Wexford and we met with them. Slowly but surely, we were getting a little bit of hope that something would be done. Because remember, it had been going on for 7 months at that stage. Rather long gestation period to be looking for justice. So anyways, we met with them, we provided them with the further information, and we waited, and we waited, and we waited. Now, my office received a telephone call a couple of weeks back, and as a result of the telephone call, my office wrote back to the minister saying, further to a telephone conversation between my constituency office secretary and your office this morning, I look forward to meeting you during the week after next to discuss the report into fraud at Coillte. And I wished him success on his trade mission because, well, he was gone away. So anyways, myself and the industry representatives went in and met with the department. And I have to say, it's the most shocking meeting I have ever been at in my life. And that is probably an understatement. I'd say it would probably be the most shocking meeting anyone in politics could ever have been at in their life. Gobu wouldn't go far enough to describe it. We were met with stonewalling. People who have put decades of their life into developing this industry were left shocked. In fact, one of them present actually said, up until now, they had been sorry to see people leaving this country and pitied the families of those people who were leaving. And after that meeting, all they could conclude was, do you know what, they're right. And if people were right, even more of them would leave because we're living in a hellhole. That was a very conservative, a very calm person's view of what they were looking at. Now, we were looking for a serious investigation, and we have not got it. We were pleased that the Minister gave a commitment to investigate it thoroughly in the first place, as all other attempts to get Coillte to act on this complaint had failed. We had expected that the Minister would use his position as a shareholder of Coillte on behalf of the citizens of Ireland to get to the bottom of this issue. Now, we were told that one of the reasons that the Minister couldn't get information was, well, basically, Coillte fobbed off the investigators by saying information needed was commercially sensitive and could not be given to the Minister, who effectively owns Coillte on behalf of the people. Now, I could have been shocked by that, but I met a similar thing on Roscommon County Council when I was chair of an environment SPC, meaning I was a member of the corporate policy group, meaning that I was one of the people who was meant to be running Roscommon County Council. And I looked for information, and I was refused it on the grounds that it was commercially sensitive. So basically, at a local level, I have met with something being too commercially sensitive to tell the people who run an organisation about it. And now we see a situation where a minister is being told that they cannot get information because it is commercially sensitive. How on earth are we meant to swallow that? How on earth can that be true? The investigators were very reliably informed also that CCTV existed of the alleged fraud, yet they chose to just accept Coilte's reply that no evidence existed. The investigators did not even talk to the CCTV company. And what was the reason we were given? Sure, why would we talk to them? They're employed by Coillte. Like, if someone came around and robbed my house in the morning, and the Gardaí carried out an investigation into it, and they found the person that they thought was doing it, and if they asked them, did they rob my house, and they said no, would they accept it? No, they wouldn't. It would be ridiculous to accept that. But that is the level of investigation that's going on. We're talking about tens of millions of euro. Not my €359 television here. We're talking about my children's money and the future's money. It seems to me, from the very lame investigation undertaken by department officials, that there is a conflict of interest here that can only be remedied by the Minister appointing an independent third party outside the civil service, a senior counsel or equivalent, to conduct a proper investigation. The department officials have even refused to report this issue to the AGS. Now, we left that meeting, people who have worked for years in this industry, who have developed this industry, who have driven this industry, and we were told we couldn't even have a report to leave the room with. Now, that is an insult. We had people who work in industry for decades, who have driven this industry, and in fact who should be running Coillte, not taking orders from them, being told that, do ye not understand how it works? Well, the reality is, there is no civil servant who can understand how the forestry industry should work better than the people who work at the coalface. There are potentially tens of millions of euro at stake here. Now, apparently it's a commercial company. This same commercial company now is coming to the state with a begging bowl, looking for tens of millions of euro to subsidise its board plant. Now, I have a suggestion. Carry out an independent investigation into what you're doing with our money and our resources. Carry it out, and there will be plenty of money to invest in the board plant. Something has to be done about this. You might say it has nothing to do with the Forestry Bill. Well, there will be no point in the Forestry Bill if the industry goes down the tubes, because no industry can be sustainable on the basis of the facts not being right. Something must be done about this. The media have ignored it. Is that a surprise? No, it isn't, because we know who owns them bugles and we know who they stand for. Well, the media can ignore it, but believe me, they're chattering about it as we speak on social media, and they're talking about it, and the anger is bubbling up about it. So do something about it. I have another 2 years left in here, maybe no more. But in the next 2 years, I will do my damnedest every time Minister Coveney rises to his feet to make sure he does something about this. And if I am given an opportunity to do Leaders' Questions next year, every week it'll be mentioned. Why is this money being robbed from the state? Why isn't the right thing being done? Why aren't she accountable? Why aren't she doing what she said she would do? And why are you acting no better than Lawler, Haughey, Burke et al.? Thank you.